Hello again. The KwaZulu-Natal Economic Development and Tourism Affairs Department has cancelled its involvement in the hosting of the 2023 South African Music Awards. It comes after public outrage over the millions of rands which would have been spent on the event. The provincial government says it's looking at a way forward for the participants.
As an executive authority, having consulted widely with the Executive Council and other stakeholders, I've advised the department to stop the hosting of South African Music Awards this year. Senior management has been mandated to engage with the recording industries of South Africa and report back to me as an executive authority. We will report to the KZN Council as the hosting of the Summer Awards was a collective decision. We reiterate the point that our hearts are with the artists whose lives were destroyed by outbreak of COVID-19. The Summer Awards was their hope and the source of income ahead of the festival season. Having said, for the record, we wish to reiterate the following points we have made consistently. The procurement process was followed and the department to secure approval from Provincial Treasurer for funding of the Summer Awards was above the board's transparent and free of any irregularities. Unfortunately, in the process of ensuring transparency, official and public available documents have been weaponized against the departments to scandalize this national event with global following. Fortunately, the issue of economy, it's not easy for everyone. For a person who resides at Mzumbe, Nongoma, who is not employed, listening to a statement that the government is going to spend 20 million for an event, it has already been polarized. So that is why I had to invite the management in the departments, take me through, because I'm also concerned, as I've already saying, that when you itemize the processes, I must be taken into confidence. And I said, no, this is not going to be sustainable. People need instead more jobs to be created, which is why I'm saying that our focus should dwell towards Sitesha Waya.
For more on this, now let's speak to the IFP leader, Velenkosini Hlabisa. A very good evening to you, Mr. Hlabisa. I'd imagine you are quite pleased then with the decision by the KZN government to cancel its involvement in the hosting of the SAMAs.
Good evening, Thembekile and the viewers of Newzroom Afrika. Let me firstly say we sympathized with the artists in South Africa who were devastated by COVID-19. That is why at a local government level where we govern and at a political level, we constantly hire our artists to perform in order to assist them to mitigate the challenges of COVID-19 and following years. Of course, we were relieved when the KwaZulu government withdrew the decision to host the summer at an exorbitant price of 28 million, not yet in calculating the portion that was going to come to from eThekwini Metro. But you see, Thembekile, I really hear what the MEC is saying, but this is a culture of the ANC, because it is surprising when they knew that there is high unemployment from the time they made the decision, were they not aware? You know, even at a country level, at one stage, we had a monumental flag that was going to cost 22 million, despite of the unemployment of our youth. You know, Thembekile, there was an issue of 30 million for a Philharmonic Orchestra project, which was unnecessary if you look at the challenges that our country is experiencing. Our government must learn to prioritize the needs of our people who are unemployed, create job opportunities, because spending 20 million on a day is something that is going to be a disaster, looking at the economy that is not doing well and the high rate of unemployment, especially amongst our youth and worse, our graduates who are sitting at home.
Do you think this decision would have been taken by the KZN provincial government if, quote, President Ramaphosa hadn't advised MEC Duma not to spend this on the music awards? I know that there have been denials both in the provincial provincial government, as well as the office of the presidency, as to the tone and context of that conversation, but it took place nonetheless, we're hearing. Do you think that is what ultimately led to this decision?
The KwaZulu-Natal government would not have taken this decision unless the president indicated that although he cannot impose because they are a province, but indicating that this will not be a wise move and not a prudent fiscal expenditure. And of course, President Ramaphosa also assisted South Africa on the issue of the monumental flag when his minister wanted to recklessly spend millions of rand on something we don't need. Our people need jobs similar. The Minister of Arts and Culture was reprimanded by President to stop the project similar. KwaZulu-Natal met the same reprimand from the President, although he became nicely to respect the boundaries between national and provincial, but the message was clear that you shall not go ahead with this expenditure. It is not a prudent fiscal expenditure under the prevailing circumstances.
And just on what you were saying, if the president did indeed intervene, whatever the context of this conversation was, some have said it may set a worrying precedent where he's giving instructions to provincial leaders on what to do, whether right or wrong.
No, he has a responsibility as number one of SOMAS. They are within a unitary state. So when he sees something wrong, he really has a responsibility to point it out that although you have a right to decide in terms of your budget, but this decision is not in the good interest of our people. So he did a right thing in this circumstance.
So just on what you were saying earlier about how it wouldn't be prudent, for want of a better word, for this spend to happen, there's been reaction from the recording industry of South Africa, and it says that, quote, and I want to read the full thing here, it says, "We note with dismay that a prestigious, credible and apolitical national cultural asset that's been in operation for 29 uninterrupted years, longer than any other award ceremony in South Africa and the continent, has been characterized as a conduit for looting." They go on to say, what's been lost in all of this noise are the economic benefits of hosting a show of this magnitude. They say that these awards, for example, were in the process of confirming up to 350 rooms per night across various hotel groups from the 12th to the 20th of November 2023. So is it not a missed opportunity in terms of tourism and income for KZN?
It was a good opportunity for tourism and income, but the KwaZulu-Natal government, as I speak, is failing to pay the NPOs. You cannot spend such a big money when you are failing to meet your obligations as a government. It will be a misplaced action of the government. Some should find a way of raising funds in order to ensure that they contribute in the rebuilding of our economy, other than relying on eThekwini, which is failing to provide people with houses after the April floods and July uprisings of 2021. Instead, want to spend, as I know from some sources, eThekwini was going to put the bill at 25 million, while it is failing to do its basic service delivery needs of its residents. And the KwaZulu-Natal government, while there are challenges in ensuring that the NPOs, which is part of the service focus of one of the departments under the government, you can't go and spend such a big money while you are failing to keep your core mandate as a government.
So the recording industry statement then says this, contrary, they say, to spurious allegations, their conversation with the city of eThekwini had been on infrastructure and logistical support and did not include any financial contribution. Does that paint things in rather a different light for you then? Would it be better if the contribution of eThekwini was strictly logistical?
You know, Tembekile, I want the some officials know we sympathize with them and we know they need assistance, but not at this price. If you talk about logistics in eThekwini, infrastructure, really, whatever that you do to prepare for such a magnitude function, there is no way you will not need actual money to spend to ensure that everything meets the expectation and the magnitude of the event. We cannot beat about the bush. There was money that was going to be spent. The unfortunate part, eThekwini is a dismal failure when it comes to services first.
Mr. Velenkosini Hlabisa, my apologies. We're starting to lose you there. Thank you for your time, leader of the IFP, reacting to the announcement today by the KZN provincial government that it will no longer be taking part in the hosting of the South African Music Awards after outrage at spend that was estimated to be upward of 20 million rand.